Hello, I'm Ric Blackwell. An update from the Pentagon on an ISIS attack on U.S. troops in Iraq. Rear Admiral John Kirby now says about 25 ISIS fighters, led by several suicide bombers, attacked an airbase in western Iraq. Kirby says most of the attackers, some wearing Iraqi uniforms, were killed by Iraqi security forces. No Americans were involved in the fighting. Their section of the base is a few miles away from the gates. Kirby says U.S. unmanned surveillance aircraft and Army Apache attack helicopters were sent to the scene from Baghdad, but the attack was over before they arrived. As Congress considers President Obama's request to wage war on ISIS, the former director of the Defense Intelligence Agency warns that the U.S. needs to take action.
It would be foolish for us to wait until our enemies pose an existential threat before taking decisive action. Doing so would only increase the cost in blood and treasure later for what we know must be done now.
Retired Army Lieutenant General Michael Flynn testified before the House Armed Service Committee. The service security situation in Yemen also continues to break down today. Italy, Germany, and Saudi Arabia have closed down their embassies as security fears increase in the capital. Now, last week, the U.S., France, and the U.K. all evacuated their embassies. Excuse me. UN officials say Yemen is on the verge of civil war. At the American sniper trial in Texas, jurors are hearing more evidence about the man accused of killing former Navy SEAL Chris Kyle and his friend Chad Littlefield. Now, Texas Ranger David Armstrong says authorities found marijuana, whiskey, and antipsychotic medication while searching the home to former Marine Eddie Ray Ruth. Ruth's lawyers say the medication was used to treat schizophrenia. The FBI is now getting involved in the murder of 3 Muslim college students in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. The FBI says it's launching a separate inquiry in addition to a police investigation. The victims, a federal hate crime investigation. At this point, police in Chapel Hill say Craig Hicks shot and killed his neighbors over a parking spot dispute. Retailers are left feeling the burn with no end in sight over the labor dispute between dock workers and their employers. The slow negotiations shut down both parties. 29 ports along the West Coast. These ports handle about 25% of U.S. international trade. Port operators have accused their employees of intentionally slowing down their pace as a way to pressure their bosses, but the longshoremen have denied it. We now know why Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg nodded off during the presidential State of the Union speech last month. Ginsburg says she wasn't 100% sober. Speaking at Georgetown University yesterday, the 82-year-old admitted she had been drinking a glass of wine that Justice Anthony Kennedy brought to dinner before the address. She says it's a bit harder for the justices to stay alert because they don't get to clap or stand up. That's your Newsmax Now update. More news coming your way in 30 minutes.